Hey there, my name is Angie Neal and I'm a policy advisor for speech language services and early literacy. Thank you so much for allowing me a few minutes today to talk about South Carolina's 2023 College and Career Ready English Language Arts Standards. One reason that it's so important to be aware of the new 2023 English Language Arts Standards is that the purpose of specially designed instruction via an individualized education program provided in the least restrictive environment is to meet the unique needs of a student with a disability to ensure access to the general education curriculum in order to meet the educational standards that apply to all children, including the South Carolina 2023 ELA standards. As mentioned, specially designed instruction is based on the unique needs, the individual needs of each student. And specially designed instruction adapts the content, methodology of the content, the delivery of the instruction, and in doing so, that allows us to work towards achieving grade level standards through the provision of things like strategies for learning, repetition, scaffolding, developing underlying skills, providing additional practice and feedback, and more time and more explicit instruction. And this is how specially designed instruction is different from the instruction that a student receives in general education. The timeline for the ELA standards began when the final approval of them were approved by the governor of January of 2023. Then from spring and summer of 2023, that's when the Office of Assessment and Standards began working with their collaborative partners in other departments to prepare the state for the introduction of the standards. In the 23 and 24 school year, the 2015 ELA standards are still in place, and that is what will be assessed for SC Ready. But this has also been the year where training and support has been provided to districts about the new 2023 South Carolina College and Career Ready ELA standards. Full implementation of these standards will begin next school year, the 2024-25 school year, including assessment in the spring via the SC Ready. A quick review of why standards are important. Well, first, academic standards are actually required by law. And part of the reason for that is because this is what defines what all students should know and they should be able to do. And in doing so, we're able to ensure that there's a common and consistent set of expectations for every student. In addition, standards also help to inform instruction as well as assessment. As I begin to give you an overview of these standards, I want to begin with this quote from Stanislaus Dehaene, which says that it is simply not true that there are hundreds of ways to learn to read. When it comes to reading, we all have roughly the same brain that imposes the same constraints and the same learning sequence. So what's exciting about the new ELA standards is you will see all of that learning sequence captured in the 4 strands of the ELA standards. That includes applications of reading, foundations of literacy, research, as well as written and oral communication. Something that is important to point out before we get going is that there's a difference between a standard and an indicator. A standard is what students should know and be expected to be able to do by the end of their academic career. However, an indicator is specific to the grade level, meaning these are what the students should be taught, they should be working on, and they should be practicing in order to advance their skills in a systematic way. The Foundations of Literacy strand is for primarily just kindergarten through 2nd grade. That includes 4 standards related to phonemic and phonological awareness, print concepts, decoding, and fluency. But as you see beside that, there's 23 different indicators, meaning there's 23 different specific skills that need to be mastered. The Applications of Reading strand is for kindergarten through English 4. There are 10 different standards which includes literary elements and figurative language, theme and central idea, point of view and perspective in literary text, perspective and purpose in informational text, text structure and features, summarizing and paraphrasing, 3 different strands for vocabulary, then also print and non-print forms. And then beside it, you see there are 14 different indicators. For research, as you see here, there is just the 1 strand, but there are 5 different indicators. For written and oral communication, you see again 9 standards and also 9 different indicators. Let's talk about a few of the differences between the 2015 ELA standards and the 2023 ELA standards. First, there was a 33% reduction in the total number of strands. There was a 50% reduction in the number of standards. There was a 56% reduction in the number of indicators, all of which affords better focus and achievability. Another difference is the overarching expectations. Overarching expectations are those fundamental skills and processes that are actually interwoven throughout the fabric of ELA instruction across every grade level. So these are perpetual practices that really cannot be separated from conventional classroom instruction. So they're not specific standards or indicators, but rather they are an expectation of what students do as readers, writers, thinkers, and communicators at every level of ELA instruction. A few examples include reading and writing for a variety of purposes, acquiring, refining, and sharing knowledge through a variety of multimedia literacies, making inferences, collaborating with others, using active listening skills, citing evidence and explaining and justifying your reason, as well as creating quality work by adhering to acceptable formats. A tremendously important shift has been the addition of the foundations of literacy standards. As mentioned, they do apply primarily to kindergarten through 2nd grade, with 2 indicators that extend into grades 3rd through 5th. Those 2 are fluency and reading strategies. The foundations of literacy standards and indicators outline the explicit and systematic instruction that is required for phonemic and phonological awareness, phonics, fluency, and concepts of print. When you look at those vertical articulation or grade band articulations, you'll be able to clearly see how each skill within each indicator builds from one grade level to the next to ensure that students have the adequate skills for decoding and encoding, for reading and spelling. Something else that you will find in the South Carolina 2023 ELA standards document that I think is very exciting is an explanation of the strands. This provides a general overview of what to expect within each of the strands, as well as the evidence or the research supporting those. Also, you'll find the 6 essential foundations. This is what the ELA committee used when looking to build and develop the 2023 standards and indicators. This includes ensuring that there were clear, measurable, and vertically articulated standards, again, that build from one grade level to the next. Also ensuring that there was alignment with the Every Student Succeeds Act, the federal law for comprehensive literacy instruction, as well as the National Reading Panel. It was also important that one of the essential foundations be that the document be accessible for all students, that there were interconnected literacy skills, that learning was really seen as a recursive process, and of course that there was alignment to the profile of the South Carolina graduate. Some other differences from the 2015 and 23 ELA standards include grade level entrance statements. What's exciting about this is really a general overview of what the student should have mastered coming into a certain grade level, as well as what they will have mastered by the end of that grade level. Also, are indicator insights. These indicator insights provide teachers with an understanding of the language, of the words and the meaning within each of the indicators. The whole point being to assist teachers in their understanding of the expectations, as well as to help build fidelity and consistency with what the indicator means, what it entails, and to provide just that general clarity about that language within the indicator. There's also appendices, including the appendices outlining the foundations of literacy standards, grade band articulation, as well as the vertical progression of spiraled standards. The vertical progressions are presented as a table to assist with vertical planning, the whole point being to enable scaffolding and building of skills for students who may need that extra support. These vertical progressions really help to begin with the end in mind and focus on the learning progression, as well as what the key terms are when they are introduced. Now let's take a quick peek about how to decode these codes. Well, what you see here is that each strand begins with the acronym ELA for English Language Arts, since that is the subject area. Then the first number you see is the grade level. After that, there's more letters, and those coincide with the abbreviations for each strand. So for example, Foundations of Literacy will be the letter F. Applications of Reading will be the letters AOR. Research will just be the letter R, and Written and Oral Communication will be presented with just the letter C. Immediately after the strand, then you will see the specific standard, followed by the number that indicates the specific indicator within that standard. So what you see here is an ELA standard and an indicator for 6th grade and the strand of found applications of reading. Specifically, it is standard number 2, indicator 1. Looking a little bit deeper at the appendices, now that we know the coding a little bit better, what you see here is the Foundations of Literacy grade band articulation. And so you can see how clearly this demonstrates the difference in skills taught within each grade level and for each indicator. And here is the vertical progression. Again, this table clearly demonstrates the differences in the indicators for each grade level. So at the top, you see English 4, Applications of Reading, strand number 5, indicator 3. Then look all the way down to the bottom and you see Kindergarten, Applications of Reading, strand 5, and indicator 3. One of the most amazing things about the rollout of the 2023 ELA standards has been the overwhelming amount of supplemental documents. This includes a glossary, special education insights, information, or rather an infographic about how to navigate the document, a supplement for research and for rhetoric, a crosswalk, multilingual learner insights, an indicator aligned inventory for word recognition to help look specifically at those indicators within the Foundations of Literacy. There's also documents related to media literacy, text complexity, Foundations of Literacy specifically, gifted and talented insights, a grammar and conventions matrix that really helps outline when those different grammar and convention skills should be taught and mastered, a vocabulary support document, and of course the vertical articulation with the indicator insights, similar to what I just showed you. And there are more supports that are being added frequently. Other additional supports that are being provided regarding the 2023 ELA standards are a series of webinars or video recordings. This includes the 2023 ELA standards crosswalk support document, a video explaining the glossary, as well as videos explaining the research support document, the text complexity support document, the vertical articulation indicator insights document, and then also reading comprehension within the Applications of Reading Part 1, which means there's a Part 2 coming. And again, there are more videos being added frequently. So, where can you locate the 2023 College and Career Ready ELA standards? Well, just go to the South Carolina Department of Education webpage, click on Department and Schools, then click on Standards. Next, once you get to Standards or the Standards page, go to English Language Arts and then Standards. And then once you get to this page that you see over on the right, scroll all the way down to where it says 2023 standards, because the 2015 standards are still posted until the end of this school year, since they are still being assessed. Thank you for your time, attention, attendance, and interest in South Carolina's 2023 College and Career Ready ELA Standards and Indicators. If you'd like more information, please do not hesitate to reach out. Again, my name is Angie Neal, and my email is provided right here on this slide. Thank you so much.